What is going on, everybody? It is week 3 of the IBL. We're gonna be playing our good pet PlatinumHowler. Really good battler. I'm actually very nervous. His team is very scary. Um, and the matchup is very rough. Before I do that though, make sure you guys definitely like, comment, and subscribe. It definitely goes a long way, both for myself. Go ahead and do that for all the IBL coaches. They're all in the description below. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this team builder. I'm actually going to be popping up the my opponent's team and my own team on the screen, rather than ramble about kind of guessing guessing what my opponent has. They're going to be on to your left right about now. Perfect. So as you can see, he's going to have the Terrakion, the Grimmsnarl, the Arcanine, Duraludon, Rotomo, Araquanid, Reuniclus, Piloswine, Driplim, Garbodor, and Noctowl. His Duraludon is able to Gmax, which makes it even more threatening because Duraludon is not scary enough. It has, gotta make sure it's able to Gmax as well. Do a whole much more damage than what it already does. This is a team we have picked up here, kind of prepped. Now, I don't feel confident 100%. To be honest, I do feel pretty unconfident that how this team will perform, just because looking at the matchup, it's going to be very hard for me to deal with certain mons that he has, especially Pokemon like the Grimmsnarl and the Arcanine. Things like the Araquanid and the Reuniclus too does put a lot of threats. Actually, if you just take the first first 6 Pokemon that he has, that's already like a full team that he just needs. Terrakion, Grimmsnarl, Arcanine, Duraludon, maybe Rotomo, but more Araquanid, Reuniclus. Like those 6 right there, he can just bring those, and that's gonna be very scary. But we are gonna be trying our best. Obviously, we are going on a hiatus. We did win our battle versus Mario last week, but it was more in the hacks than anything. So we really want to make sure that we earn this W. But let's go over the team that we have here. So we are gonna have Colors Del Sylveon, choice specs this week with Hyper Beam, Hyper Voice, Psyshock, and Baton Pass. And yes, you heard right, specs Hyper Beam. We're doing it. We're doing it not only for the thumbnails, but we're doing it for me, for you, because you deserve this. But yeah, Spec Sylveon does so much damage. With Hyper Voice, it actually has a chance to OHKO Gmax Duraludon when it's Gmaxed already, unless he's wearing an Assault Vest. And Hyper Beam just kind of nukes his team. It actually has a chance to OHKO a max special defense Araquanid, which is pretty crazy because this thing is very SPDF oriented. Baton Pass is just for pivoting around in case he wants to kind of go into the Arcanine mainly, or he wants to go into the Reuniclus, because I do need some chip for that. And I do have some handy dandy notes that I'm going to pull up here that you guys can't see, but that's going to be more for me. The special attack, so like I said, it's just max special attack. It kills a Duraludon with a Hyper Voice unless he's a Assault Vest. The SPDF is going to allow me to live a max steel, like the max steel move, I think it's Max Steel Spike, Duraludon, or live a Flash Cannon for my specs modest Duraludon too. The speed is just for like speed creeps and stuff like that. It's also the remaining remaining EVs that I had left over. So just want to make sure to put that in speed. Doesn't outspeed us. We didn't really need it for anything else. Maybe HP would have been nice, but it kind of has those benchmarks that I wanted. So I think those are pretty nice. Next up, we're gonna have the Gourgeist coming over for the first time this week. The Gourgeist Super, so the biggest of all the Gourgeist. This one's gonna be more of a Terrakion switch-in. It's gonna be coming in, kind of resist both of its stabs, ignoring the physical side as well as the rock stab. With Leech Seed, Will-O-Wisp, Force, and Power Whip. It always hit KOs a max HP power. I think it's actually just a regular, slightly HP invested Terrakion with Power Whip in that 20 attack. It also takes 2 Icicle Crash from a non-attacking Piloswine after rocks. The SPDF allows it to live a +1 Shadow Ball from Reuniclus, just in case he wants to get a little cheeky with some Calm Minds. This allows to live one, and go ahead and go for a Phantom Force. And then lastly, the Power Whip also allows me to 2-hit KO either the Araquanid or the Piloswine, and a chance to OHKO Terrakion if he's no HP investments with rocks. So this is a pretty good set. I feel like the lead sheet is just for longevity, just because we don't have any recovery on this set. So this will be like my form of recovery, not for Gore guys, but also for the rest of the team, because I am not bringing Wish on Sylveon, and the Willow is just to kind of cripple down his physical attacker. Now this set does have a hard time with like a defensive Arcanine, or a physically like banded Arcanine, which is what I expect him to bring, either like a Life Orb or a banded variant. I think overall, like my whole team in general does have a hard time, just because Arcanine has such a good array of moves with like Play Rough, Flare Blitz, um, Wild, Wild Charge, and like Teleport for Pivot, for example, or just Morning Sun if he wants to be like a Life Orb set. Like I think like this spread like decimates my team. Like I have no switching. Maybe a Bull does too for the Toxicity. Talking about Toxicity, we're gonna have Toxicity coming this week with the Throw Spray with Shift Gear, Overdrive, Boom Burst, and Snarl. The Shift Gear, I mean, is going to be able to outspeed a Scarf Dragon. Um, and then the speed itself is going to be able to outspeed a max speed non-speed boosting, so like a modest Duraludon. So that's assuming he's like a modest Specs Fairy, for example. I'll be able to outspeed it, which is pretty nice. Which is really good late game sweeper. I just need to make sure that Ballast One is gone. Even though it's not going to appreciate the Boom Burst at +1, you still want to make sure that, you know, ground types in general are kind of cleared for Toxicity to shine. The Snarl is really good to lower any special attacks, so like for Uniclus, for example, not only it's super effective, but we get to drop the special attacks. Same with Duraludon. Duraludon doesn't have the great special attack, so it allows me to kind of knock him out, to kind of lower the special attack, make him not as much of a threat. Overdrive and Boom Burst just hit super duper hard with the Punk Rock. Yeah, this game, late game, could be very, very useful. Gotta make sure that Palace One is gone, and that the G-Max is also depleted. Next up, we have Banded Adamant Weavile. This thing's going to be doing so much damage. I'm actually really excited for that. It doesn't really live anything, so we just put everything in speed. I was doing some calcs and like either it kills me or it doesn't. Like, it doesn't really matter what the HP was in. The speed itself is going to be for max speed Terrakion, assuming he's not scarfed. So I was deciding either I could be Jolly, have a little bit of HP, or I could be Adamant and do big boy damage. That's obviously what we went for. Knockoff, Brick Break, Crash, and Shard. Brick Break was for a specific reason, which I am going to think about right now. I think it's going to be for like a screen. Oh yeah, for Screens Grimmsnarl, in case he wants to bring Screens Grimmsnarl, which I do think he's going to be bringing. Personally, I think he's going to be bringing like a Scarf Drakion, Screen Grimmsnarl, like a Life Orb Arcanine, like a just. I think it's going to be like a modest, almost Specs or a like especially offensive Duraludon. I think he's gonna bring a Araquanid with like a more like Spadef set for the Como, and like a Trick Room or a Calm Mind Reuniclus. We've here also makes sure I do not get swept with Reuniclus with like a Mono Psychic set, basically. That's what it's here for. Then we have Steelix, Chromed on the Steelix with Shovel Berry, with Roar, Stealth Rock, Heavy Slam, and Earthquake, just dual stem, with max HP, a little bit of attack, a lot of defense, mainly Spadef, and 4 speed, because why not? This is actually more of a Fizz Def set. This allows me to live plus 2 CC or Earthquake from a Terrakion with Choppleberry, just in case he wants to go for a Swords Dance. It also lives 2 Dracometer from a Specs Duraludon, which is pretty helpful because we can then Earthquake it. Rocks are actually pretty important in this game because it allows me to get some chip. It allows me to chip up the Arcanine if you want to switch in, because it's really hard for me to deal with that Pokemon. It allows me to chip down the Araquanid as well. Just basically everything coming in, we really want to make sure we get those chips. This is also a really good Grimmsnarl switch-in, because it doesn't care about T-Wave. Grimmsnarl does not get does not get Will-O-Wisp. I could Heavy Slam almost always, or Earthquake almost always, because he doesn't have a good time switching to these, except for the Araquanid. Hence why Roar is there. What I want to do is I want to get my Stealth Rocks up, bait out the Araquanid, and then roar it out, so that way I keep shuffling his Pokemon, chip down his team with Stealth Rocks. If I remember correctly, other than the Reuniclus, and I don't think he gets Wish actually, his team does not have a lot of recovery. so I really want to start getting the rocks up pretty early on, and then make sure we get those roar coming in, start shuffling his team around to start chipping him down. Lastly, we have Como with Clinger Assault, Aura Sphere, Flash Cutting, Clinging Skill, Max Speed, Max Special Attack with a Lumberry. This right here is like a sweeper. I wanted to run defensive, but it was kind of hard to be like both defensive and put enough offensive pressure on the team. I felt like Como needed to come, but I didn't really know what to put on there. It helps also wall the Arcanine as long as he's not a play rough set. But I have a feeling he's probably going to bring that. Plaid's a very, very good player. The speed is going to be for Duraludon. It actually speed ties, it actually speed ties both base 85. So we're going to max speed, risk it for the biscuit. You know, I can set up, if I set up, I do kind of win. I just make sure that I need to get rid of the Rio Nicholas, because Rio Nicholas is very, very strong. A +1 clinging skill does about 60%, I believe, to a max HP Araquanid. If you spit F, it's a 2-hit KO, but I resist both of its stabs, so you have to go for a Toxic, hence the Lumberry. Lumberry is for if you want to Toxic me on with an Araquanid, for example, start chipping me down, or if he wants to Thunder Wave with Grimmsnarl. Obviously, Grimmsnarl he'll probably want to Spirit Break, but just in case he wants to go for the T-Wave, prevent a setup, or kind of cripple me down, that's what the Lumberry is here is for, and then they'll kill with Flash Cannon. Alright, that's going to be the team. I will see you guys for the battle. Alright, we are with the battle. I accidentally forgot to record, but good thing I realized midway. Just a quick overcast of what happened. So he led Terrakion as I led my Gourgeist. We frisked out for him to be Sash Terrakion. So me thinking he's gonna be just a regular. We're gonna pause that right here. Just me thinking that he's got a regular just a regular Terrakion, like Sash Lead for example, but he actually goes for a Substitute on my Leech or my Willow. Then you're gonna see him go for Stealth Rock as I go for my Power Whip. Here I don't predict him to stay in because Gourgeist is my answer for the Terrakion. I do think that he's gonna be switching in, so I am gonna go debate on if I want to switch into something or if I want to go for Leech Seed. And I am actually going to do just that. I am going to go for the Leech here. I haven't revealed it yet. I actually went for the Willow. I do think it is escaping my memory because this was a little over a week ago. But yeah, I'm going to go for the Leech Seed here. Just kind of chip this team down. This is the only form of recovery my team has besides some leftovers and stuff like that, which I actually don't think anything has leftovers this week, if I remember my team correctly. So all damage that I take is going to be final, except for the Leech Seed. But he's going to go for another sub, which is pretty interesting to me because he can't do a whole lot to me. But yeah, unless he's predicting the Leech Seed, which is really good on his end. But we're going to see him, he's going to go for Stone Edge. It's not going to do too much. It's going to do about a third. He doesn't take the Rocky Helmet chip, unfortunately, but we're gonna go for a Power Whip. Thankfully, we do connect. Gonna break that sub here, and he's definitely in range of another Power Whip. I was expecting him. Well, first, I'll admit I was not expecting him to be a a Sash Lead with Substitute. That is very interesting. I thought he was going to be Sword Stance. So I do Power Up here. I don't want him to set up. I do want to get rid of this Terrakion because it's definitely a big threat. And I'm getting 6-0 PTSD. Like, I don't want to get 6-0'd. Got 6-0'd once this season, and for me that was more than enough. But we are going to knock out the Terrakion, which means we are not getting 6-0'd. So at this point, we can throw the game. It is what it is. We've already we've won in my book, but we're gonna obviously try our best. So here I'm assuming he's gonna want to bring in either his Arcanine in, just because I can't do too much to it. It does prevent me from going for a Willow. It does prevent me from wanting to stay in general. And like I mentioned in Team Builder, Arcanine really destroys his team. It destroyed his team even before I prepped. Just the matchup in general. just rough. But he is gonna go into his Grimmsnarl here, which also forces me to switch out. He's a little bit faster than I am, especially if he's speed invested. I think I do have a little bit of speed in this with this one, but I'm probably not gonna be staying in. I am scared that he's gonna want to go for rocks, and I am contemplating if I should stay in or and go for the Willow. But I am gonna actually go into my Steelix here, which is my designated switch in for this Grimmsnarl, because he can't do too much. I'm very Fizz Def oriented. I'm actually mainly Fizz Def oriented. I see he's gonna go for a Throat Chop here, which is very interesting, and it's gonna come into play later on. So definitely keep an eye out on that. Like mentioned before, I really want to make sure I get my Stealth Rocks early on. Start chipping his team. He doesn't have removal, which is really good for me. From what I just glanced here, I don't think he had removal, and neither did I. So we are gonna go, if past Dorian is smart enough, and if you would click a damn button, there we go. Yeah, okay, cool. I am gonna go for the Stealth Rocks. I don't think he's gonna stay in. I'm assuming he's gonna go into Zeraquinid, which he does, because it resists both my stabs. I can't do a whole lot to it, and he does a lot to me. Water Bubble's a broken ability, changed my mind. We are gonna get the rocks up here. I definitely do not want to stay in, as I am gonna go into my Como. Not only does it wall this, it could potentially give me a setup. I am still thinking about this, but I do think I'm going to my Como. Spoiler alert. I don't want the Gorgeist to be too weakened. It could potentially get some Leaf Seed on something else like the Araquanid, for example. Do a good chunk for the power. But we're gonna see me go into the Como here, as he's gonna go for the Sticky Webs after I do take that Stealth Rock chip. But he's gonna go for Sticky Webs. That's actually very important. I not only did I not prep for this because I did not anticipate it, because I do have a competitive Milotic. It does hinder my team a lot. Because now Duraludon does outspeed Como if I do decide to switch out. So I'm debating whether if I want to stay in and start setting up, even though there's a Grimmsnarl in the back, and that is very scary, and there's a Reuniclus in the back, which I do have to 2-hit KO. I am debating. That timer, man, that timer, those big 30 seconds left timer will have your armpits drench. Like, I am a grown-ass man, and it spooks me. Here I am hesitating whether I want to Klinger Skull or predict the Grimmsnarl coming in and go for the Flash Cannon. Unfortunately, I do not get the play right. I kind of want to attack what's in front of me, as he's going to go hard into the Grimmsnarl, and I'm going to go for the Klinger Skill, which does not affect the Fairy-type Pokemon, obviously. Flash Cannon would have done about 50-ish% to the Grimmsnarl here. I am going to be calculating that right now, as we're going to see the time trickling down. But obviously with the Spray Break, like, he destroys me. Like, he kills a whole herd of Como. I'm going to go into my Grimmsnarl, into my Steelix, on the Grimmsnarl, make that easy switch in, a very predictable play. I'm going to play very safe, because Platinum is a very good player. I've played him before in PCO, and I tried to play pretty aggressive with him, and he took more of his time, and I do believe I lost that game because I was overly aggressive. So this time I'm playing a little bit more safe, making more of the correct plays. Probably plan on making more aggressive plays later on. We're going to see my speed drop, as he's going to go for a Spirit Break, like we talked about. Do pitiful damage, not too much. But he's going to lower our special attack, not that it matters. Here we can either go for the Roar or the Heavy Slam. The mindset for this is to start roaring him and start shuffling his team around, getting that rock chip damage. That was the game plan from the start, so we are going to go ahead and put that plan to execution, as he is going to switch out into the Araquanid. Take that rock chip damage unless he's the boots, which he is not. Take a clean 25%, and we are going to roar him out. So that when he comes back in, he's going to take another 24 to 25% chip right into the Grimmsnarl, actually, which is really going to add, because he does get another set of chip damage, and this was the matchup we were in before, so this means we can click it again. So we're gonna roar XD our way into victory. That's the whole emo plan right there. That was the plan all along. Our inner emo is coming out. I'm debating whether I want to surprise the Arcanine coming in, but I feel like roar in the end is just a good play. Completely, mind you, forgetting about throat chop. Which we're gonna see right now. He's gonna chop this big old Steelix throat and make it so that we cannot roar. It went over my head, like I completely forgot. That is my fault 100%. But look at it, see, how can you chop a Steelix throat? It doesn't even have a throat. That man is like 90% rocks and like 10% heads. Like, head game is super strong. But I did forget about that. 100%. So I am gonna hard switch into the Toxtricity here. Start going for Boom Burst, even though that's also a sound based move, and he does have Throat Chop. So I don't know what I was thinking, but that is hindsight. I am not smart sometimes. I will be the first person to say this. I do not always make the best plays. I have been known to make not good plays from time to time. He's gonna hard switch into his Arcanine. The beast has officially arrived. He's gonna intimidate, as I am gonna go into my Toxtricity and get that speed drop. Shout out to Swak, by the way. Swak is a good Pokemon. Has yet to do something this league, but that's okay. We're gonna make it work. But so after rocks, he does have a chance to kill. He has it's literally a 56% chance to kill, I think, so pretty much a 50-50 at this point, because I didn't count into the HP I had, unless he is banded. So if he's banded, it for sure goes. If not, it's a 50-50 he kills us. So we are obviously going to risk it. We're obviously gonna go for that shift gear, try to chip his team. I see he's gonna go for the Flare Blitz, and let's see if we live. We do not. We straight up drop. So that means either he got the roll or he's banded. As we're gonna see a ton of recoil from the Flare Blitz. So here, if he's banded, I can go into my Como and I can start clicking buttons. If he's not banded and he clicks Play Rough, I die. So we're gonna get our defense is gonna drop, and we're gonna get chipped by rocks again. And here, this is here where either he stays in and goes for the Play Rough, or he's not banded, or he is banded and he's gonna go into the Grimmsnarl. So it's gonna be a 50-50 once again. Two 50-50s back to back. Like, Pokemon is stressful, man. Like, my heart is like beating so fast. I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm running some calcs. Flash Cannon, like I said, is doing about 50% to a Grimmsnarl if he's max HP. If he stays in, then it doesn't matter, because that means he's clicking Play Rough. I'm gonna go for the Flash Cannon though. You know, sometimes you just gotta put your foot down and die to Play Rough, because you get the 50-50 wrong. So he's not banded. He's just gonna kill me. He just got that percentage and roll correctly. I am gonna die, and at this point, I look at my team, I look at his team, and I'm like, yeah, this is where we lose. We lose here. Funnily enough, Sylveon does kill with Hyper Beam here. I know Hyper Voice is a roll potentially, depending on his EV spread. I'm just trying to see like what would kill if a knockoff from Weavile would kill, but it's not looking like it is, even though I'm banded. So we are gonna go into the Sylveon here. I already know at this point that I am not gonna win this game. It's gonna be pretty much keeping out differential and making sure we have a dope ass thumbnail. That's all it's gonna come down to. As we are going to click the Hyper Beam. You know, there's no point of putting it on the moveset if we're not even gonna click it. You know, like sometimes you just gotta go for it. You just gotta beam this through. So we're gonna click the Hyper Beam. It does pretty much anything that's coming in. The Arcanine dies. The Araquanid definitely dies at 50%. Like nothing is living this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this little thing. Gah! This, I'm so glad they changed the animation. That is so cool. I think this is the first time I see it, like, from here, like, you know. But yeah, we are gonna kill the Arachnids, so it's gonna be down to a 4-0 here. Like I said, this is gonna be pretty hard to win this game, especially with the Arcanines thing being alive. Obviously, I have to recharge this turn, so it's a free switching into his G-Max to Audon, because yes, this thing can Gigantamax, unfortunately. And there's nothing I can do here. I'm gonna assume that he G-Maxes. After rocks, I have a slight chance of living his move if he's, I don't think if he's modest. If he's not modest, I do have a chance on living. And he's gonna go just that. He's gonna go ahead and G-Max, get super skyscraper like big old boy. Yo, G-Max, it looks really cool though. I'm actually personally a big fan of the G-Max mons, although they could have been really cool as like megas. That would have been an awesome way to like bring back megas. But he's gonna go for the max steel spike, and that is going to completely drop the Sylveon. Unfortunately, Sylveon does not live, and is going to boost his defense, which is very, very unfortunate because the rest of my team is completely physical, physical attackers. Here, I mean, at this point, it doesn't really matter what I go in, because it just gets revenged by Arcanine. I do think I go into the Steelix, yeah, because I can Earthquake him, kind of chip him down, potentially live a move, maybe. I do think I live a move here. We're gonna go ahead and get our speed drop, as I am gonna go for Earthquake. I thought about clicking Orb, but I actually I had to look it up beforehand, that it doesn't switch out G-Max Pokemon, which would be really cool. He's gonna go for the depletion here, get rid of all my PPs, as I'm gonna live on 12. Screw my PPs, he's depleting me with my Life Force. We're gonna go for an Earthquake, and it's doing no damage, nothing at all. He is +1, but still, like, it's not doing a lot. I was scared he was gonna be a weakness policy scent, which actually would have been pretty bad for us. He's gonna go for a max steel spike one more time, as I am going to drop. This actually is going to round up his G-Max turns, so that way he's gonna go back to small dragon type. He's +2 defense, so there's not too much I can do. Even if I had like low kick on the Weavile, wouldn't do too much. Even Break at this from this range didn't kill, so I'm gonna be forced to go for the Icicle Crash. I think either I Icicle Crash or I knocked off. We're gonna find out together. So he's gonna go back into small dragon. Yo, Geraldo looks like an inhaler. Like, it's kind of derpy looking. Yeah, so he's +2 defense. I do think I go for the Crash and hope for a flinch. That'd be a good play. Come on, make the play. Past Dorian, make the play. I believe in you. Yeah, okay, cool. Perfect. Hax is a win con. Turns out he's actually faster because I am adamant. So none of it really matters. He's gonna Flash Cannon. We are gonna drop because Weavile is very, very frail, especially on the defensive side. Afterwards, we go into the only Pokemon we have left, which is going to be the Gourgeist. Boom. Gourgeist comes in, nice and shiny. Shoutouts to Blueberry. Great nickname, by the way. I found that one online, because I did not have any nicknames for this one. Yeah, I was like, that's a really good one. We're gonna find out he's gonna be Chompleberry for, I'm assuming it was gonna be the Como, which is a pretty good bring. But he's gonna Flash Cannon, and it's going to drop us. So we're gonna lose 4-0. Something I was kind of expecting. Like I said, the matchup was really rough. It was just keeping down the differential and getting Hyper Beam kill. So I think, you know, that's like a double check on our end. maybe we're gonna see that one more time. Which I think, I think we did good. We did the best we could. But yeah, definitely GG's. Platinum is a very, very good player. Definitely check him out with the rest of the coaches, which are all linked down below. And I will see you guys next time, which is next week versus Tyler, our good pal Tyler. Alright, have a good one. Bye bye.